Miami, 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 Miami. It feels like Miami.
Intern.
Damn it, intern.
Intern, damn it.
Bring him in.
Sorry, Lou. Sorry, Lou.
Bring Lou
this
in.
What happens.
I like him.
Bring Lou in.
He doesn't know how to do it.
Okay.
What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to bring Lou in?
He doesn't know how to do it. It's
Just
okay.
one-
Oh my goodness.
He doesn't know how to do it.
Tony,
It's okay.
Tony,
bad,
I swear.
No, to Lou.
My bad.
It's all right. Just leave
I
Lou.
wasn't-
Just leave Lou on the panel. Leave Lou there. Just leave Lou. Lou, you're joining apparently.
And this is why you still in. It's been more than
Yes.
20 days.
Pablo Mills over here. Fuck.
Sheesh.
Right. Oh man. All right. None of us are G. I'm even stumbling. Damn, intern.
Now you're gonna do it all extra late.
It's too late.
God
It's too
damn
late.
My bad.
The sign is up, baby.
Man.
Barely.
I miss Jazz too. Somebody in the chat like I miss Jazz. Yes, we all miss Jazz. All right. Thank you guys for joining us. Heat win. Heat win. Sorry, Tony. I am surrounded by my illustrious panel. Let me shout out my Heat people because then I want to get to my very special guest. I got Saucy at the bottom. Saucy, say what's up to the people.
What is up? What is up, everybody?
We
Nothing
got
talking.
Frankie on the ones and twos.
Pablo Harkless over here, -8 in a minute. Come on.
And we got my girl Bon. Bon, say what's up to the people.
Hello, people.
All right, as you can see, I got a special guest joining us tonight, Mr. Tony Pesta, my guy from last night. First of all, let me just say, I joined him last night on In or Out on his YouTube channel. Yo, check it out. It is, first of all, subscribe. That's the first thing you do. You go to his channel and you subscribe too. Check out the video because we had fun last night. I got to talk about my boy Max, so you know I'm always living good.
Nephew.
Tony, I want to do it twice. Before we start, tell the people where to find you.
Yeah, hit me up. My YouTube channel is at Tony Pesta. Same thing for Twitter. If you want any Cavs propaganda, I'll be pushing it nonstop. So that's where you'll find me.
Great. So let's just jump right into it. Last night we had a discussion on In or Out, and one of the topics was Terry Rozier. You called it. I need you. I need you to just go with it. Go with it right now because you called it.
So Scary Terry is a player who, for whatever reason, every team has that random guy, whether it's a role player or whoever, just comes in and torches you. For whatever reason, he just gets up for that game. Now, Terry Rozier, Shaker Heights, Ohio native, he has always just had it out for the Cavs. He's torched us every time we played him. 42 points against us a year or two ago, a whole bunch of clutch shots. Reminiscent of tonight, I accidentally spoke it into existence. I said, I hope that Scary Terry doesn't do what he normally does. And, well, 24 points, 5 of 6 3-point shooting, including the daggers tonight. It was just, even my beloved Isaac Okoro on him late at the game, nothing would have made me feel more safe, and Terry Rozier still ripped our hearts out. So it was unfortunate. I do want to say real quick to the Miami Heat, I salute any team that doesn't foul when they're up 3. So even though I'm heartbroken that we lost, nothing but respect for a team that still plays ethical basketball, because the Cavs are one of the only teams that don't foul up 3 either. So I have to get a shout out there.
That's right.
Bond, I saw you were tweeting about Terry. Go ahead and get your Terry off because I know you got something you want to say to Brian Goins.
Listen, Broins. Listen to Brian and to everyone else. Like, it was a whole lot of Terry slander way too soon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, very soon. Like, maybe 4 games into this shit's over. Get him out of here. We wasted a pick on this. Bring Kyle back. What is this? Oh, we should. There's a whole bunch of kind of just a lot. And you know, I always felt it was kind of premature. Terry has a lot of like really, really valuable tools, and they are the tools that kind of Miami has been missing, right? Like a guard that can get north and south, a guard that can beat his off of a few moves and kind of just go, that can get below a taller defender's hip, duck the shoulder a little bit, turn the corner, and kind of just get to the cup. He's been finishing a bit better at the rim, and the biggest thing has been, like, he's been shooting poorly. And I have been saying for years, like, it is easy to become a better shooter, especially with the types of looks that we generate. It's easy to become a better shooter, even if it's for a moment, reps, repetition, all of those types of things. So I think he went like 4 for 5 from 3 tonight.
5 for 6.
5%. Oh yeah, and the dagger, right? Yep, 5 for 6. Goins is a doomer with a calculator. I'm weak. Big ass calculator too, with the paper in the back. But yeah, like just shout out to him. Steady, a good herk and jerk to his movements, but pretty efficient and purposeful with them. And you can just see his growth and his comfort with the group.
Right. Before I come to you, Franky, I wanna go to Tony first, and then I want you to piggyback on Tony. So Franky and I have been having we have this little back and forth about Niang. I need so
Oh man,
I
Georges.
Georges holds his own out there. So
Yes.
I want you to talk a little bit about his skill set and because I'm gonna be really honest. Like when you watch him, everything looks like it's happening in slow motion. Nothing looks.
It
like
is happening in
it's
slow motion.
but he brings something on the court, and he is successful in his role. So I want you to talk a little bit about his skill set and how he's able to help the Cavs stay where they are, because they're a top 3 seed. So talk a little bit about that.
Mm. Yeah, this is definitely a better time to talk about Georges Niang because a few weeks he has definitely come into his role a little more and impacted winning. I will say, just if we're talking the Cavs fan base, Georges Niang has to be one of the least liked Cavs in a while. Most of the fan base can't stand him when he's on the court. Great dude off the court. Everyone seems to agree that they love him. He seems like a nice guy, but on the court, I went to a Cavs game last week or whenever they played the Suns, and he's a guy where every time he touched the ball, you could just hear everyone in the crowd just groan. Just please don't shoot the ball. Please pass it. With that being said, he was brought onto this team for a very specific reason. It was because he's a good shooter. And to start the year, he was shooting, I think he had a pretty long stretch where he was like under 30% from downtown. Recently, he's above 40%, which is what we would expect from Niang. I think we saw a lot of this in this game where the officials, the NBA refs, have changed the way they're officiating games more recently. And that has actually, in a weird way, helped someone like Niang, who can't really defend in space, but if you let him get away with a little more contact, he's a big dude and it's hard to get around him. I think we saw some of that today where he was able to get away with more contact than he was to start the year. And really, he just has, and much with Max Strus is someone who brought competitive edge to this team. The Cavs, it's a team of just a lot of friendly guys, and sometimes they're young, so you make an excuse for it, but sometimes they don't take each game with the appropriate energy and attitude, and Georges Niang is someone who doesn't mess around. Picked up a technical early in this game, and sometimes it's helpful to have guys like that who are going to get pissed off and treat this game like it matters, because a lot of times the Cavs don't do that. And so I've definitely come around on Niang. He had a pretty good game today. I didn't look at his stats yet, but he had a big shot down the stretch. Our stats not great.
No.
3 for 11 shooting, but he did have 18 points, which definitely helped. Niang, it's tough, but when the shot's falling, it looks good. Everything else looks pretty bad most of the time. So I don't know where you guys stand on him. I'll just leave it at this. I miss Dean Wade. I hope Dean Wade comes back soon.
I miss Dean Wade too.
Aw. well, I'm going to preface this. I've actually liked Niang since college. I'm like a closet Iowa State fan because I really like Fred Hoiberg. Monty Morris is one of my favorites since college. I liked Niang in college too. But man, I hadn't seen him. I haven't watched many Cavs games besides the 2 games they played against the Heat this year. The couple games they played against the Heat this year. But when I saw him tonight, me and Tiff, our DMs were going crazy with the jokes. He is exactly built like the kind of guy in high school you pick up on your team and like he's smart, he's skilled, he's talented. If I can just get him in shape.
Yeah, he's a
So-
bowling ball.
Yeah, he's a bowling ball. Oh man, I think me and Tiff said he looks like an alumni that got past the freshman 15 really quick. He came back and run an open gym, and he's huffing and puffing out there. But no, he plays hard. He's a smart player. He shoots the ball well. Career 39% shooter. And Tony's absolutely right. Like, you need your role players to give a damn. Like, this Heat team has shown very clearly from the top to the bottom that you need players to give a damn day in and day out. And I respect players like that.
Yeah.
Give Georgia some culture.
I feel like he would be like, I tweeted Jared Dudley one time that I wanted him in a Heat uniform. And he's like, not with those weight restrictions. And I feel
Jared
like he would
Dudley
do the same
definitely
thing.
not.
But I feel
No,
like Niang
no.
would be the same thing. Not with those rules, not with those practices. Hell no.
We can fix him. Tony, I like your shot. You listen to the Cavs broadcast, I'm assuming.
Actually, I watched a decent amount of the Heat broadcast today because it was weird. The Cavs are doing this thing where they're airing the games for free if you have cable. I don't have cable, so I couldn't see it. And Bally doesn't air those games, so I was allegedly, illegally, or legally watching on a Reddit stream that had the Miami Heat broadcast. So,
Cool.
and then it switched to the Cavs broadcast towards the end, so it was a little bit of both for me.
The call out about the officiating, the Heat broadcasts were on it all night. It was like, man, it's so much hand checking. Like, they're letting them get away, but that definitely does serve a guy like Georges really well.
Right.
No, that was it.
Definitely. Yeah, I like the subtle change to the rules too. I think tonight was a little weird. There was, I think, both sides. I don't think either team had an unfair advantage, but both sides there were some weird calls and no calls. But overall, I've been happy with the change.
Yeah.
The first quarter, I was laughing because I know the Heat. So after the first quarter, I thought, damn, we might get 140 points tonight. Like both teams were. I got fooled. Both teams were racing, and it's not the standard for the Heat. The Heat are not this fast-breaking, fast-paced team, or if they are, they can't keep it up for a full 48 minutes. Based on that first quarter, Tony, what did you think was going to take place after that?
Well, I'm pretty sure the Cavs were down by double digits in the first, right? I think Miami started off kind of quick. They went on like a 12-3 run or something. And so immediately I was like, well, here we go. Because with the Cavs recently, and don't take this as a shot at the Heat, but with the Cavs recently, when it's against really good teams, they bring it right away. And when it's against teams that they probably should have a chance at or should be able to beat, it's like they come out flat and then maybe they'll make a run in the second half. Maybe they don't. So I was really nervous about that. The one thing that I noticed right away with this Miami team is just how nice it is to have a player like Jimmy Butler, where every single time he has the ball, whether I think he had 21 in the first half, but whether he's scoring or passing it to someone, even if it's a missed shot, he's just generating something every time he touches the ball. And the Cavs didn't have that tonight, aside from a few stretches where Garland was getting hot or someone else. Like, it's just so nice to have a deliberate player who can pick apart a defense and kind of bend it to its will. To his will.
Yeah. Right. So basically the Cavs went on that 11-2 run at the end of the first. So that is where we usually see ourselves. Bond, where did you go once you saw that? Because that is our string music.
Yeah, it was we go to make like some substitutions. And we're without Bam, we're without the all-world defender that Bam is. And Tony, to your point earlier in the first quarter, we had whatever type of lead, but you were saying we had a double-digit lead. I just checked, with the first quarter ended 31-30. And so from there it was very much like, okay, so we're gonna go ahead and lock in. It's gonna be a typical Miami grind it out, be physical, be deliberate, be methodical type of game. And from there, I was pretty much like, oh, okay, this is kind of how it was going to go. It was, though, refreshing continuing to see Jimmy be in an engaged mode, be in an assertive type of posture within himself. I really liked Nikola's work on the boards, and kind of, Tiff, you're talking about like we're not great in transition, and we're not. But that guy will get it and kind of push. Jaime will get it, push. Terry will get it and push. Like, we have guys now who kind of will push or force the issue a little bit. Now we have to get better at converting. Our like fast or half court efficiency is not great. It's really almost kind of embarrassing a little bit. But at the end of the first, I was like, okay, this is gonna go the way that I kind of expected it to go. Cleveland physical, like lengthy, has the ability to muck it up themselves. So they got some gunners, Donovan's out or whatever. Darius has, a lot to him. I love you guys' front court. But very much so, this is kind of what I expected. Cool.
Right. Franky, can you speak a little bit on to how Cleveland was able to physically get up into our players and kind of knock them off their spots and even push them off the spots as far as when it was, getting the boards?
Oh yeah, they can. They have a lot more size, like physicality and size than the Heat do. Like the Heat have a lot of guys that punch above their weight, and when you're going against Georgie Niang, that's a lot of weight. But I'm just kidding. As a fat guy, I can make these kind of jokes. No, but Jared Allen was doing a great job being physical, using his size, boxing out, hitting them first too, setting the tone defensively on the boards. And Nico, Orlando are they're big, they're tall guys, but they're not really heavy guys. They're not really physical guys. It's got to be all effort and execution and work for them. And sometimes you're just faced with a bigger guy who's a lot stronger than you and able to throw you around. Tristan Thompson's not a guy you would think as like big, but he's solid.
He's solid. His upper body, he's solid.
And he's always been known as like a great rebounder, hunter. He does his dirty work early. And you got guys like Niang crashing boards. Okoro's a good guy on the rebound. Only had one tonight, but he's big and boxes out. So it's hard. Jared Allen had 20 rebounds alone. He had a tremendous game, and they were able to set the tone physicality wise. But the Heat are used to that, used to being undersized and used to gang rebounding. They ended up the night same amount of rebounds somehow, some way.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting because I just want to I want to say this, and then Tony, I want you to jump in with whatever.
I had a point I wanted to make there.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead and make your point because I'll knock you off.
Okay. I just wanted to jump in on the Jared Allen thing because it's just so nice as a Cavs fan hearing other fan bases give Jared Allen some credit because that Knicks series just drug his reputation through the mud. The amount of things that I've seen said about Jared Allen, it's so insane. I get that he got punked in the Knicks series. There's a lot more that went into it. I won't dive into that right now, but he's still a guy. Like, listen, if you can grab 20 rebounds in the NBA, you're a good rebounder. Doesn't matter if you got out rebounded by another guy. Like there's so much slander, and he had, I think, 25 and 20 tonight. It's his 5th career 2020 game and his 2nd this season. He's been so vital, and it's just, this is the last thing I'll say, then I'll let you go. After everything that people said about him, he was dubbed expendable and every other name in the book, and he's been, aside from Donovan Mitchell, he's been the most important Cavalier this season. If they would have traded him in the summer, this team would be, Max Strus is also very important, but if they would have gotten rid of Jared Allen, like every Cavs fan wanted during the summer, I don't think they might be in the play-in right now without what he's given, without all the value he's brought on the glass. They would be screwed.
Brooklyn should have kept Jared Allen.
Oh that was Brooklyn's mistake.
We got him for nothing.
Siobhan, tell him about the conversation that we had when this happened. We could not believe that y'all got him a bag of popcorn.
Man, I was so pissed. I was like, damn, that's all it's a bag of Lay's. Yes.
Exactly.
I don't even remember what we gave up, honestly.
It was an expired bag.
Like a couple second round picks. Was it like
a stale
Dante
bag of
Exum or
Lay's
something? I
don't even mostly air.
Yeah.
Right, but that's the so now I have to get in on that because it's very interesting because players are going to have tough matchups and players are going to have to play through things. Like no one's always going to be perfect every game, night in, night out, every matchup. And the interesting thing about that is that he was getting killed and people pretended he was the only one having a bad series.
Yes.
I watched a lot of that series because I was curious how that matchup was going to play because we ended up playing the winner. He wasn't the only one struggling in that series. He just instantly became the scapegoat, which
Oh yeah.
said you don't have the seed that you have now this season without him. Like
Mm-mm.
there's no possible way. You need that big on the interior, even though everybody believes you could go out there with 5 guards and win. That's just not how it works. Like you need that big. And Bond, you and I talk about that all the time. There has to be a physical presence somewhere on the court. And
Yeah.
listen, I enjoy watching Donovan and Darius in the backcourt, but like realistically, they're not imposing. They're not physically imposing. You
Yeah.
need someone behind them that makes them think twice about going to the basket. Like that's just
Absolutely.
what it is. Go
Yeah.
ahead, and I know you have something you want to say.
Who, me?
Yeah, I know you always want to
Oh
get
yeah.
in on the big.
Oh man, like the game is still basketball at the end of the day. Like all of the small ball, all of the this and the that, like and it works in spurts, but you need like a specialized type of group for that to kind of work in a sustainable type of way. I will never subscribe to the idea that there is not space for like a Jared Allen or a space for like a Jonas Valanciunas. There's space still for
Right.
an Andre Drummond. There is space for a big physical kind of imposing big who we talk about gravity, we talk about all of this stuff that like a shooter can do kind of outside of the art, but to have a guy who will suck a defense in and requiring 2-3 sets of eyes on him trying to smack and all of these things, and then you have your kick out threats, and then you have all of those things like a good physical and mobile big like Jared Allen is mobile, he's springy.
Yep.
He's not like a lumbering type of like oof. Like Jared Allen is a good big. So I all of that he caught from the Knicks series, I think was wholly unnecessary.
It was the comment. He shouldn't have said the lights were too bright.
That one.
Fair. I forgot.
He's such an honest guy.
Right.
They asked him what went wrong,
it.
and he just told the truth. And
I
Right.
love it, though.
unfortunately, he's a meme
Right.
forever now.
When keeping it real goes wrong.
Definitely the Chappelle skit.
So
That's a fun question.
if everyone is, you want to get to that? Okay. Intern wants to get to this. This is for you, Tony.
Okay, just take it away. So, why isn't Okoro used more on offense? And listen, I'll just preface this by saying I've been the number one Okoro fan since day one. I've been on Okoro Island since it was just me and a volleyball, and now we have guests all over. We're building new penthouses. Like it's a great time to be on Okoro.
I know what that's like.
Mhm.
Oh, it's rough, but we made it through. With all that being said, though, he's not used more on offense because he's not very good at offense. It's not his skill set. He's grown so much as an offensive player, and he's being like, trust me, you think he's not being used much on offense right now? You should have watched last year. Last year, he was, hey, stand in the corner. If you touch the ball, you're not allowed to dribble. Just pass it to someone else or shoot it if you're really, really open. This year, I mean, it didn't work out, but he dribbled the ball up the court at the end of the game. They ended up getting a shot clock violation. It wasn't really his fault, but like there was no reality where they would have let him dribble the ball up the court at the end of the game last year. So he's shooting, I think, a career high from the 3-point line. He's been more than just a corner specialist. He's taken them from above the break. He's taking them quicker without hesitating. And he's been really good. I think I don't know how many assists he had. I'll check real quick. He had a couple plays. I only had one. So he had one play where he got downhill. And I believe he dished it to Jared Allen. And he's done that a lot recently where he's attacked a closeout and then dumped it off to the big. And that was something that coming out of college, I think I saw a lot of potential there for him to be like a secondary or third playmaker. And again, when he's stuck in the corner, you couldn't really see that. This year, you're seeing a little bit more of it. And so I love Okoro. Wish he could have given me like a great example of just locking down Rozier at the end of the game. Granted, that was a tough shot. Sometimes you just got to tip your hat because that was great defense. It was just better shot making.
Absolutely.
Happy? Pablo, are you happy?
Isaac feels like he could have like a Caleb type of track. Not, I don't know that it necessarily turns out the same way,
So-
but like, go ahead.
So, because I'm a Cavs fan.
Yes, same. I'm a Pelicans fan. This is my
And
part-time thing.
I've been watching them all season. I will tell you the truth. His defense is better.
I believe it.
Oh yeah.
It is his overall, and that mid drift strength
Mm-hmm.
that Caleb doesn't have. He
Yep.
has it. Yep.
Mm.
And his ability to switch so much faster.
Mhm.
Where Caleb might have a little bit more length, his instincts are better.
Isaacs are.
Yeah. Yep.
I can see that. I feel like Caleb has like the raw, just like really just raw athleticism, and I know that Isaac has some of that too. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The stability and kind of like the midsection, the hips, kind of like a quick reaction type of
torque.
switching. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. But
His
like
torque
offensively
is-
though, from like a slasher cutter type of
Right,
perspective, I see that I feel like there could be some like rip baseline, finish, don't finish, kick out. Like that's where Caleb kind of started for us, and then he grew his bag a bit. But I just see like little flashes. I like Isaac.
He's still
Like
young
that.
too. He's only 23 and athletic, and this season has given him a lot of opportunity to showcase a little bit more, and plus just the experience, just getting more comfortable, getting more confidence. But yeah, like it's nice to see the Cavs. Like I don't get to watch their games, but I catch their highlights and I catch their box scores just because they're in front of us. And I see, man, they're shorthanded. They still pulled out a win. And it reminds me of the 22 Heat that were like, doesn't matter who's playing tonight, we're gonna fucking play hard and win this game and compete. And I respect that. I really respect Cleveland.
Tony, we got another one for you from Latiana.
That is my son.
Thoughts on Nico? I haven't watched him all that much, but he lit us up today, so he impressed me today. I've seen him a little bit here and there, but he had a good game. That's all I know. I'm not sure, how old is he? He's a
20.
younger prospect,
He's
right?
20.
Yeah. So
Is he 20?
he's
He
one
just
of
turned
those.
20.
Just
He's
turned
one of
20.
those guys that Miami just keeps finding somehow. I don't know if you guys are like building them in a lab or something, but these players just come out of nowhere and end up being really
He was an
well-crafted
import.
NBA players. So
Yeah. That one we brought over. The rest, we built in the lab.
He's turning 21 in June. He's crazy. He went from a guy who couldn't play defensively, and now he's closing game. I was just happy he was able to close. They trusted him to close.
Right.
Go, yes, Frankie.
Yeah.
He
Like,
closed today.
Talk about that.
They have badly needed somebody that when Bam's out to just give them some trust, and that's not Kevin Love, because Kevin, love him, absolutely love and appreciate him, but we want Kevin to play 15 minutes and 15 minutes only and save the rest for the playoffs. But Nico did a great job. There was a couple of breakdowns, they were targeting him on the switch, but he held his own a lot of the possessions, moved his feet, pushed them towards the help. They didn't give him a lot of straight line drives. And I was mostly happy with him. His shot making was big. A lot of big time threes. He's had a poor month shooting the ball, and it was nice to get him back to his averages. I was just really happy with him. Just another guy who, we always talk about pushing the ball up the court, getting them into their offense early. Alf had a tweet where he was like, man, he always makes like the right pass. Like, it's not always an assist. It's not always like a
hella
perfect
hockey assist.
Yeah, he moves the ball with it and gives it energy and starts the ball movement. And we talked about this in the post game the other night. We just needed one more guy, and Nico would have been perfect. I think if Nico could have played against Philly, they would have won. But I just always love what he brings to the table. And shout out to Saucy. He posts every time Nico at the 5 as a sole big gets some traction, and his numbers are just going to continue to go up.
Yep, it's his improvement defensively.
Well, that's the thing. That's where we needed him to be, because and talked about this with Tony, that we had no bigs. Everybody's been dropping like flies. So we needed someone who can. We need somebody that can stay on the floor. That's number
Mhm.
one. Who can stay on the floor and be big. That's number two. Who can stay on the floor and not be a negative. That's number three. And you don't have to do much. And that's the thing. You don't, when you're out there and you're out there with a healthy Jimmy, you don't have to do much. You just have to get to your slot and just be productive in your way. And that's what he did tonight, which we needed because Jesus, I don't know who else we were putting out there.
Yeah. And even his not much, even the not much that he's been, asked to do, he's gotten so much more proficient in the not much. And the not much be rebounding, pushing, holding your own defensively, take this open shot. But like the natural playmaker he is, he's looking to move it out is absolutely correct. He's always making the right pass. There was it was either 3-on-2 or 3-on-1. It was Jimmy streaking down the left slot with the ball. Nikola was in the middle, and I think
Caleb.
Patty. It was either Patty or Caleb. Okay, Caleb. Yep,
yeah.
On the right slot. And you can tell like Jimmy likes playing with Nikola. He's advocated for him, kind of the whole season. Get it to Nikola, right back to Patty. Patty got it back to Jimmy, and just like an awareness. I love when he just continues to, show that he's put in a lot of work in a few different places. The physicality, Tony, you're talking about the physicality being a plus for a guy like Niang, allowing a guy like Nikola to be able to bump some and not get all of those like stupid petty fouls, but like adjust to kind of being able, like I said, to bump. Like I thought tonight, and the way that things have been officiated and how they probably will be going forward, get into playoffs, those things play well for him too.
Yeah, and I've been I know Polterghost talks about we were giving Spo shit for playing. I think he's talking about for playing Spo at the Jovic at the 5. But I mean, I think Nico's that was mostly last year. Nico playing the 5 at 200 pounds. He's gained 30 pounds of muscle in that 1 year. And I also think his defense improvement since he was playing the 4. Yes. Next to Bam has improved a ton and allows you to be more confident in him as the sole big. Plus all that he opens up offensively for, especially when he's playing with Jimmy and they're able to play inside out on each other.
Right. So I want to say, because we're going to get out of here soon, but a couple of things. One, we as the Heat, we need to get out of the play-in. Tony, you as the Cavs, you want to just stay in that top 4?
Must be nice.
I wish.
Like Life Jennings out here.
Right.
Must be nice.
It's hard out in these Heat streets right now. But we also talked about that last night. Sometimes you just got to ride with it, whatever it is. But before we get out of here, I kind of want to talk about Kevin Love for a little bit, just because.
Let's do it.
I know you do. That's and I've said Kevin Love is the most important player on this team. I don't care what anybody says. I just feel that way. But before I talk about Kevin Love, or before Bond talks about him, I want you to just talk about your love for Kevin Love.
Well, it's not hard to love a guy who helped us win a championship. So no matter what happens, I'm always going to have love for Kevin. And he was kind of, throughout that run, he was always the scapegoat. He was always the third guy. And then there was that stretch where, the Colin Sexton era, where the team was just really bad. And it felt like Kevin Love was going to get bought out any day now. And it was so ugly. And then to see him in that 2021 season become a legit 6th Man of the Year candidate, kind of lead this new era of the Cavs, he was so important to their development. If you listen to any current Cavs player talk about Kevin Love or just ask them about Kevin Love, they just rave about how great he is, how much he helped them, his attitude. I know he has like these weird moments where it seems like he's like having a meltdown on the court or whatever, but those are like small blemishes on a guy who has just throughout his entire career been such a great locker room presence and a great teammate. And I was, again, we mentioned this on my show yesterday. I know there are more details to why he was bought out in Cleveland. There's a lot of other like things that went into that, but man, the Cavs dropped the ball with that one. They really did, especially if you look at that Knicks series and the way they went out I'm not going to say that Kevin Love alone changes that entire series. But you think about the two things that went wrong. The Cavs couldn't shoot the three-pointer. They had no one who could make threes, and they had one or two guys who could get a rebound. But what does Kevin Love do? He shoots three-pointers, and he's still one of the best rebounders in the NBA. And even to this day, listen, George Niang was supposed to be like the new Kevin Love. That clearly hasn't happened. He's not the same. Even if his three-point percentage is better than Kevin Love's, he's not the same presence on offense. He doesn't pass like Kevin Love. He doesn't set screens like Kevin Love. He's not as much of a respected shooter, and he doesn't rebound nearly as well as Kevin Love. So all that to say, I miss Kevin. If you guys want to give him back at any point, we will gladly welcome him.
No returns, no receipt.
I don't expect you to kind of like go into the nitty gritty of it all, but you said, there are a few other things with regards to like why he was kind of bought out. Like, would you mind, a little?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Was it like, we're young now, let's go ahead and just buy all the way into this young new kind of direction? Because I feel the same way. Like I'm super happy y'all gave him help, but I thought he maybe could have helped you guys.
Yeah. So, I think it would be a good idea to go into that a little bit, because I think a lot of other fan bases were like, why did they let go of Kevin Love? Like, what happened there? So it's a little complicated. In December through January of that season, I'll just say Kevin Love was very bad at basketball. He was very bad. And now it's not a coincidence. People like Cavs fans sometimes drive me crazy. I love Cavs fans. Sometimes, listen, Kevin Love fractured his right hand in November of that year. And so naturally, when he's trying to play through an injury with a broken shooting hand, his shooting percentage is dipped. And he's never been a great defender. So if he's not hitting threes and he's not defending that well, JB Bickerstaff, but you can do for some guys. For your veteran who's been never, maybe it seems like a personal slight. And so from what I understand, Kevin was not very happy that he was pulled from rotation. And it would have been one thing if he was pulled from rotation for just a week or two, but it got to the point where it was like a full month of him not playing. Even when the Cavs were up by 20, 25 points, he was still sitting on the bench. And so Kevin naturally, I mean, I don't blame him. I know some Cavs fans are upset, but Kevin was like, hey, if you're not going to play me, can you buy out my contract and I can go somewhere else where they will play me? And the Cavs, did right by him by buying him out and granting that request. But so much of it came down to, you kind of hit on it too, they really believed in Dean Wade at that point last year. And they thought, well, we'll just play Dean Wade over Kevin Love. And while Wade has been much better this year, was not this type of player last year. And they gave up on Love too soon. If I don't know what changes would have needed to happen there, but if they just would have handled that a little bit better and somehow kept Kevin in Cleveland, I really think this team's in a better position. Does that take them to the next level? Maybe not quite that far, but they would be in such a better position if they just manage that whole entire ordeal slightly better.
Right.
No, and we can relate because Duncan Robinson had a finger injury last year on the shooting hand. Was shooting a career worst, and Heat fans were not patient with him at all. And he came back in season, and Heat fans were like, he's still shooting awful. Like, oh, okay, he's like, give him some grace. He's shooting an elite level every year, and this year he's had an injury.
Exactly.
And fans can be like that. They have no patience. They're professionals. They make money. They're humans, guys. Come on.
Right. Well, listen.
I love the guy.
Our new treasure.
We love him.
We love
the guy.
We did not realize what he still had left in the tank.
He was not washed up.
Not at all.
We thought he could help. We didn't realize he was the help. Like, we didn't realize that. Like, he's just been, what it appears to be is that he's been so good on the court, but it seems like he's been great in the locker room. And those two things are especially what held this team together last year after struggling so much. He just seemed to be that guy that was like, don't worry about it. We'll get the next one. We get the next one. We got the next one. And just him, the positive energy and with the positive play, just kind of helped push what that run was to the finals last year.
Yeah. Very much to like tie in what all three of you said, especially Franky bringing in the Duncan aspect of it. Like, you're talking about him as a locker room guy, and this kind of that little stretch that Duncan went through, kind of who better than to be able to speak Duncan. And Duncan has talked about it. Like Kevin came and the energy of the locker room changed. Like Kevin would sit next to Duncan on planes. Like they would just talk. And Kevin's been there. Like, hey, I understand what it's like as a shooter. Fuck my hand up too. Kind of whatever he was able to kind of convey to Duncan was, I think, critical. But Tiff, to what you said earlier about him, how important he is, it's almost a lot like the Chris Bosh conversation. Like, was Chris Bosh the best of the big three? No. But was he probably, yes, the most important of the big three? Yes. And UD has said it because when he is out, we didn't have someone else that could replicate that skill set.
Right.
Without Kevin Love, we don't have the shooting prowess also packaged into the post presence. Bam can maybe give you the post presence. Nikola can maybe give you the shooting, but Nikola's not physical in the post, not yet. And Bam's not, all the way proficient with the three. We miss a lot, missing Kevin and the rebound and the outlets and like kind of all of those things. Sucks for you guys, but I'm happy you guys let him go.
Hey, well, you know what? At least from what I understand, Kevin played a big role in getting Max Strus to sign in Cleveland, so he still helped us out a little bit. He was a double agent in that way.
So you're telling me I don't love Kevin Love?
Hey, well, I guess that's you gotta figure out how you feel about that one.
So, last question. At the end of the day, when the playoffs start, where are these two teams? Are they on a collision course, or will they only be one team standing? Franky?
If they face head to head, I don't know. I don't trust the Heat to finish the season strong enough to get to the 6th seed. Just because how many injuries have racked up, and you're counting on Jimmy to play a lot. So I'm gonna say the Heat are in the play-in.
Okay. Bond.
I probably agree. I don't foresee Cleveland having much slippage. And I'm looking at the standings right now, and we are a half game outside of 6, a half game outside of Indiana and Philly. I think Indiana won tonight and whatever else is happening. So we probably don't see them. And I don't know for which club that's
I would love to, though.
Would you? When Donovan gets back?
You?
I don't.
Out of all the Heat, the East teams, yeah, the Cleveland.
Oh, sure. Okay.
That's fair.
Let me think on it.
I respect
they have a lot to
Cleveland.
prove.
Yes.
They have a lot to prove before
Right.
anybody.
Tony's like, I
fears
just
them.
met you guys.
I respect Cleveland, and like if Cleveland won, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah.
But out of the upper half of the East, like I don't.
Yeah.
I would rather face Milwaukee than Cleveland.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would
Milwaukee
I.
doesn't scare me at all.
We're in here.
So would I.
We got those
We're in
guys.
there.
Yeah.
That's
We're in
true.
there.
That's always a factor.
We got Giannis talking about failure is not really a failure. So
Like we're
Yeah. I kind of feel like there is a possibility the Heat could get to 6 because I don't see Joel coming back.
yeah.
So I think there's a possibility for them to get to 6.
I hope you guys don't, because I don't want to see you in the first round.
I know you do. which is
I'm
true,
hoping
'cause
Indiana gets that 6th seed and we have a chance at seeing the second round.
All right. I wouldn't mind seeing you in the second round. What do you, Tony, do you think, what's the ceiling for the Cavs?
So my expectations for this team, it's weird because like I've always been considered like the optimist on Cavs Twitter. People always attack me for being too optimistic about this team, but I have said since their breakout year, like they're still a little while away from being a true contender. The other teams, like you need experience and you also just need to develop a little bit. And so my expectations going into the year, I was like, they just need to win a first round series and be competitive in the second round. And if they do that, I don't care how the rest of it goes. When they went on that big run in January and they looked like an incredible team, part of me was thinking, okay, maybe conference finals. And part of me is still hopeful that they could get there. But really at the end of the day, win a first round matchup and be competitive in the second round. And that'll give me enough hope that this core works. Because if it doesn't, if they lose in the first round, changes are getting made. Allen or Mobley are getting split up. JB is going to be the first one to go. I don't expect that they move Mitchell, but changes are going to be made. And I hope that doesn't happen because I really like this core and I want to see them succeed.
All right. That kind of left me on a little sad note because the Heat mess around, changes need to be made.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm not advocating for trades. I'm just saying sometimes you got to have something other than spaghetti for dinner. We've been having spaghetti for the last 5 years.
And trying to dress it up as something else other than spaghetti.
Right.
It'll be
'Cause
meat
now we're
sauce
trying
and
to call-
noodles on the side.
Right.
Now it's
And now we're
lasagna.
trying to
Now
call
it's
it
baked spaghetti.
Right. Exactly. Put a little cheese on it. Now it's a little
Right.
primavera with something else. No, it's still spaghetti. And here we are. So I'm a little sad, Tony. Yes. Things are just looking sideways. They're not up, they're not down, they're just sideways. And on that note, we're going to get out of here. First of all, I want to say, Tony, thank you so much for coming. It was a
Thank you
pleasure
for having
you.
me.
Hopefully,
I hope we'll see you in the
maybe-
second round, even though I
I
don't
was
want
just
to,
about to
but
say,
just for the sake
listen.
of recording again.
If we meet up again, we will have you back. Please tell the people one more time where they can find you.
Yep, you can find me on YouTube or Twitter, Tony Pesta. I'll be covering the Cavs. I'm trying to branch out and cover other NBA teams too, so go ahead and hit me with a follow or subscribe. And thanks for having me on, guys. Seriously.
Oh, thank you. Bon, Frankie, thanks for coming on. Heat fans,
course.
Cavs fans, everybody that's listening, we love you. Take care of yourself. Be safe. Good night.